Wednesday night, it's actually a little after 8 o'clock, and it's time for the pastor's chat. So, Father Rob Arsenault coming from Annunciation of the Lord here in Ottawa, Canada. And again, it was just a long day. That's why I apologize a little bit late. We had diocesan days here, so it's like we call it kind of a get together for the priests from the diocese, pastoral days, and so people who work with the priests, sometimes have pastoral workers and secretaries and other people. And again, remember that's the kind of stuff I, I kind of organize that. That's part of my job at the chancery. I work at the chancery 2 days a week, but we hosted it here in the parish. But I had to leave a bit early because we had an executive council meeting this afternoon with Companions of the Cross. So it's when all three of my worlds kind of competing at the same time. It's a lot. It's again, the parish is kind of on, and the diocese is here, and again the executive council kind of, you can't stay for the whole thing, and it's kind of funny. It's just one of those weird things. I feel it was a great day. So proud of my staff. We had some extra things on, and just so good. Like so proud of the parish. Like we had Adele doing some work on the paintings, and she gave another explanation. We had morning prayer, and Cam was doing the music, and then of course we had some people helping on the kitchen. That's the Alpha team, but they also helped with the caterers, and yeah, it's just kind of nice. It's just I'm just so proud of the parish. It just rises to the occasion so often, and I think it's like just an example of what it is we're trying to do, and it becomes a model, I think, for other parishes that say, well, how can you do renewal? Is it possible? And it just makes it seems like it is. It is, at least today it is. We still got problems, but it's good. So anyway, that's just really good. It's a long day and a lot happening, and I'm kind of glad to be on the backside of that. But that aside, what I wanted to share tonight was just something I was sort of reflecting a little bit on. Father John Lacozar was preaching last weekend, and he made a statement. It's something we picked up when we were in Detroit. Remember, we were all the way in Detroit a couple weeks ago, and we're working with Renewal Ministries. And one of the basic teachings that they shared with us was a real sense of how God sees us. The classic biblical understanding of being created by God, that's our identity, that we are children of God, that we are created in His image and likeness, that yes, all of creation in a very beautiful way, but human beings in a very particular way, that we're conscious of this, and we can actually reflect that back to God. So that's a very unique thing about Christianity and about a Christian understanding, at least, of creation and of people, the dignity of the human person. What we have is that baptismal grace, that relationship with Jesus, the kind of affirmation of God the Father. These are things that were given to us. It's part of being who we are and what we've been given, and it's out of that we do things, that we can, when you think of the lives of the great saints, and of course Mother Teresa and John Paul II, and all they achieved, and the amazing example that they gave was again, sense of identity, sense of again, what they were given, and sense of grace and life, and then what they could do with all of that. And again, that's the scale that they lived on, their household names. Most of us, again, aren't going to be necessarily canonized saints, fair enough, but we can still try, and we can still have influence, and we can still make a difference in other people's lives. The world kind of gets it backwards, I think, in so many ways. It says, well, what do you do? Like, that's the most important thing. And somehow what you do is where you make a living and sort of material success in this world. And that's who you are. This profession with this sort of level of income gives you a certain importance, and again, we tend to hype that up a little bit, and I just think it's backwards. Like, any happier, I don't know, maybe they're not unhappy, but it just doesn't seem to work that well, and I think you just see that reflected in the world. So getting that right is very significant in the world. I don't think I'll go through it again. So who we are, what we've been given, influences what we do. That's the proper understanding of it, the sense of it created by God, really redeemed in Jesus Christ and destined for eternity. But on the way there, we can do some pretty amazing things. The world gets it backwards. It's what we do that gives us the things we have, that we somehow earn whatever identity, and it never really seems to work out very well. At least I can't speak for the whole world, but it just seems like the crisis of identity that we see in our current age is just that. It's people trying to make it happen and really can't. We have to receive it and live in it. And I've just been thinking about that a lot ever since Father John's homily, so I just wanted to reflect that back to you. And we sort of saw it again today because this thing we've been referring to, this first rains and this early beginning, all the examples that we use today, the music that we celebrated at the opening prayer when people gathered here in the church, the explanation that Adele did about the paintings, and again, the beauty of art and how it all comes together in the sense of design. And then we had a number of priests got up and they talked about things that they did. They wrote Christmas cards to all their parishioners. And just the difference that made, the feedback they got, like people were just really moved by that. Just a simple thing, like to do handwritten notes to everybody in the parish. And it's kind of inspiring. Father Louis did the same thing. He wrote a letter to, on behalf of Jesus, like Jesus was writing it to parishioners. And he goes down to the mall, often his day off, and he'll just pray the rosary. And people come up to him and ask for prayers, and people know this. And he'll talk to or have prayers with 300 people in one day. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's just really impressive. And Father David talked about, he had a bistro from the coffee shop that they've started at the cathedral, and that again, he had his associate pastor with him, and the bistro who does the actual coffees, and the hundreds of people that come through the cathedral every day, and with the coffee shop now, there's this sort of central place to gather, and because the space is fairly big, people linger. Like they just order their coffee, it's really good, and it's in the basement of the cathedral. They're still running it even in the wintertime. And there's 7 people who work there now, and it's all part of tours and all kinds of other things going on, and just using the tourist traction rather than seeing it sort of an annoyance or getting in the way of what they're trying to do. You kind of embrace it and say, well, you're here. Can we give you a tour? Can we tell you about why they built the cathedral the way they did, and all the symbolism in it, and how that teaches us about our faith? So these are all they're all doable things, and that's why we're trying to plan this thing. We're saying, okay, maybe not $1 million programming or going back to university or learning or getting a degree or a doctorate in theology. Those are all not necessarily bad things, but the work we did in the sanctuary wasn't that expensive, really. When even this, it wasn't a budget that was completely out of the orbit. It was actually quite reasonable. To sit down and write letters to people is something that's quite achievable. To open up a coffee shop, these are things that happen every day, and we can be a part of that. And the point, more or less, is what is the need in your own parish. This is what we're challenging, of course, the other priests that were there today, and I think we continue to challenge us, and because we have new artwork and things are going along reasonably well. We don't just rest on our laurels. We keep thinking, okay, what else can we reach out to? What other achievement can we do? And that was done kind of as a group exercise. And so I think we're going to try to simulate all that stuff together and then try to feed it back to people. Here's some interesting ideas of just intentionally reaching out to the people in our communities. Neat stuff. So there it is. So I don't have much else to say on that, Margaret. It's good to have you. Angelina, it's good to have you as well. Thank you for chiming in. And those that'll see this or those that'll watch this, if I look just a little bit, it's almost like punchy because it's been a long day, but a good day, I think, in which good things happened, and that's all we can ask for. So as we conclude this night, then the good Lord continue to watch over, guide, and protect you. May the saints and angels intercede for you, and a blessed Mother wrap you in the mantle for peace. May God bless you and keep you now, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.